Good morning, everyone. I hope audio video clear. Kindly confirm once. Sorry for the late. Yes, all clear. Great. So first of all, those who are watching the live session in this channel for the first time, welcome you all to the Achiever platform. Myself, Varnala Shivlingam. So we'll be teaching for UGC Net Paper and Paper to Commerce in Achiever platform. Those who did not download the Achiever app, you can download the app from the link given below or the Google Play Store. So for your UGC Net and Set preparation for the upcoming examinations. In this particular session, I will be covering up whatever the previous year questions of UGC Net Commerce from 2019 to 2025. All the previous year question on a unit wise basis, I have converted into single liner points for the quick revision purpose. Those single liner points which we are going to discuss now. Right? It's an ultra marathon, and let's see, 5 units will complete today and 5 units will complete tomorrow. So like that, we are going to have a proper revision of all the units of 10 units based on the PYQ of UGC Net Commerce. Shoe shot marks. Please have the patience of listening to all the points so that tomorrow in the afternoon examination, I'm pretty sure you will be thanking in the examination hall itself. You will be thanking me in the examination hall itself. That is what the task we are going to do now. Whatever you have covered in the 6 months in your preparation, we are going to do the revision in just a 2 session, part 1 and part 2. All the PYQ points, right? So shall we begin? And those who are preparing for the upcoming UGC Net December 2026, new batch will be starting in the July month, and that will be announced very soon in this channel. So subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon. You will get a time to time updates. And Telegram is not working now, so you can join into the WhatsApp groups. Let's start the last minute revision single liner, which is based on the 2019 to 2025 PYQs. First, we are starting with a business environment, international business, right? Sir, be interactive in the chat box. Whenever I am discussing a point, write down in the chat so that you will be able to retain for a longer time. Chalo. First, business environment features. You have to revise these points first because these are most repeated in the first unit. Business environment features are, it is dynamic, keep on changing, and it is a complex activity which is covering many things under one roof. So business has to take care of many things, which is why it is a difficult task to deal, and it is multifaceted. Various people will look at the business in a various way, and it is uncertain. Risk is going to be there in the business, so you have to face that uncertainty every day. New challenges and new problems will have a new solutions, and every business is interrelated to each other, or every business character is interrelated. One is depending upon the other, and it is when we compare with other competitors, always we will find certain strength and weakness and opportunities and threats. So that is relative in nature. It is not a static. The question of PYQ 2025 December, which of the following is not a character of a business environment, which is static in nature? That's the direct question. Micro environmental factors are customers. These are external factors are divided into micro external, macro external. External micro are customers, suppliers, competitor, intermediary, public, right? And external macro environmental factors are political, legal, PESIL analysis, political, legal, economical, socio-cultural, technological, natural, ecological, all those are comes from the external macro. External micro is customer, suppliers, competitors. External macro is this one, and internal environment is something different. So total environment is internal and external. In external, external macro, external micro. Next, economic environment includes inflation, interest rate, industrial policy, fiscal policy, monetary policy, EXIM policy, even this economic systems include, economic environment include the economic systems also, which are capitalism, socialism, GDP, national GNP, gross national product, gross domestic product, all those things comes under this economic environment only. And when you look at the deeper integration of the regional economic integration in the international business, regional economic integration will always start with a free trade area, where between the member countries, free movements of factors of free movement of goods without any taxes or the duties. Custom union, free movement of goods between the countries, member countries, and also they will follow some common external tariff with our non-member countries. Common market is that they will follow common external tariff with the non-member countries, and also within the country, free movement of factors of production will be there, like a labor will be moving freely without any duty and taxes. And economic union, which is a deeper integration where one single currency, one single monetary policy, single fiscal policy between the member countries are going to be there. And last, political union, one governance like a European Union, 27 countries are governed by single currency, single nation. That is political union. So basically before the free trade area, preferential trade agreement also will be there, right? Preferential trade agreement, free trade area, custom union, common market, economic union, political union. So deeper integration will be like this. From the low to high, high to low, you should be in a position to arrange it. EPRG framework. EPRG framework was given by Harvard Palmer. It is ethnocentric, polycentric, regiocentric, geocentric orientation, where ethnocentric, you have to follow your own culture. Polycentric, you have to follow host country culture. Regiocentric, one region, one culture, one marketing strategy. Geocentric, entire world, one strategy, one size fits for all approach. Trade theories, we have a international trade theories, two categories are there. Classical, that is traditional old one, and the modern one. Absolute advantage theory, before that mercantilism theory given by the Thomas Munn, after that absolute advantage theory given by the Adam Smith, and comparative advantage theory given by David Ricardo. Factor proportion, which is given by the Heckscher and Ohlin, and country similarity theory, which is a modern theory, Stephen Linder. Product life cycle theory given by the Raymond Vernon. Leontief paradox, which is Vasily Leontief, and also Paul and Kevin has given that global competitive theory, right? Bretton Woods Conference was conducted in 1944. Bretton Woods Conference has been conducted in 1944, which led to International Monetary Fund. In 1944, two establishments were there. One are International Monetary Fund, one is IBRD, which is a World Bank. Two entities are formed in 1944, which are called as Bretton Woods Twins. And WTO. Sir, those who are not interested, kindly get out of the class. Because if you are not even having a patience to listen first 5 minutes of the class, then how are you going to write the 3 hours of examination? What attitude you people are having towards the exam? Unnecessarily time wasting for you in the morning itself. Get out, better. WTO is apex body. WTO is apex body, which is World Trade Organization highest authoritative body, is that ministerial conference, that is every 2 years it is being conducted. And WTO agreement includes GATT, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, General Agreement on Trade in Services, TRIPS, Trade Related Intellectual Property Rights, TRIMS, Trade Related Intellectual Investment Measures, or the even Agreement on Agriculture also comes under the WTO agreements, right? And balance of trade is nothing but when goods, when we are talking about only goods, importing and exporting of goods, that is balance of trade. So when it is positive, exports are more than the imports, and when it is negative, imports are more than the exports. Balance of trade is positive, means exports are more, negative means imports are more. And here balance of payment covering goods, services, income, multilateral, unilateral transfers, but balance of trade covers only the goods. And here if you look at FDI, foreign direct investment, will be lasting interest and control of foreign enterprise, and it is investment in foreign securities without managerial control. FDI, foreign direct investment, is nothing but you are investing in the physical venture without any control. But FPI is talking about when you are investing in the securities, like a stock and securities, that is Stock and securities, foreign financial securities without the managerial control is FDI, FPI. Whereas FDI is where you are going to have the control on the physical investment that you are doing in that country, or we are inviting FDI from other countries. Who is the largest FDI investor in India? Who is the largest? Which is the largest country who is investing in India as part of FDI? So far, Switzerland and Mauritius. Now Mauritius is on top, Switzerland is on second. Hampaya, the problem is that you will not find a solution for your own problem. Screen blur means you have to increase the resolution. Every day, don't find the new problem in every class. Increase the resolution, it will solve the problem. Don't disrupt in between. FEMA. FEMA is Foreign Exchange Management Act 1991. It is being administered by the RBI. So foreign exchange transactions are generally through authorized person. RBI is regulating the capital account transaction. RBI is the one who is regulating a capital account transaction under the FEMA, and central government regulates certain current account payments. Right? Export factoring sequence. Export factoring sequence. Here, first, when we are exporting to other country, the importer has to pay the money. So when he is taking on a credit basis, the export factor, which is our collection agent and their collection agent, will be in contact. So the process will be, first we'll make a sale contract between the exporter and importer, and we'll send a invoice to export factor, our collection agent. Then advance received by the export factor to us, he will make a payment to us. Then he will send an invoice to import factor, which is the buyer agent. The import factor will collect and remit it to the export factor. Then export factor will get the total amount. This is how it is going to happen, the export processing sequence. Right? Capital account transactions under the FEMA is maintained by whom? Which is RBI. Current account transactions under BOP, balance of payment, is maintained by central government. There is a difference. So incoterms, which is under the basically export factoring or export business only, it will be working. So here it determine the cost, risk, responsibility at an international trade, free on board or carriage freight, whatever we are going to pay, the shipment charges, the delivery charges when we are shipping a goods to other country. When we are shipping a goods, so free on board price means FOB, where the delivery charges or shipping charges are borne by the importer or the buyer. That is called FOB basically. And anti-dumping duty. What is anti-dumping duty? In order to stop the dumping, whatever the difference between the dumped price and the original price will be added as a duty, will be imposed as a duty. Duty is imposed on dumped goods, which is causing material injury to the domestic industry. In order to protect our own economy, in order to protect our own country from the adverse impact of dumping the goods, we will be adding the difference between the dumped price and the original price as an anti-dumping duty. CSR, corporate social responsibility, as per the Carroll model. Carroll has given model in that there are 4 levels: economic, economic responsibility, legal responsibility, ethical responsibility, and philanthropic responsibility. This is a sequential arrangement as per the CSR Carroll model. Economic, legal, ethical, and philanthropic, or philanthropic, ethical, legal, economic is the highest. So this is the lowest to highest or highest to lowest arrangement in a chronological order. Sir, kindly understand that in recent examination, whatever happened yesterday morning and evening, there were more number of questions on chronological arrangement, sequential arrangement. The questions were not an assertion reasoning, not on correct or incorrect, match the following, also very less. So let's see how the trend is going to be there today. And here World UNCTAD, United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. UNCTAD conference will be conducted every year, and it is the one who is giving World Investment Report every year. World Investment Report every year, it is released by UNCTAD only. It do the research and analysis and publish the report every year on the investment happening in the various countries across the world. It is consensus building and technical cooperation for the development of friendly trade between the countries. Friendly trade between the countries. Next, World Bank lending is project oriented. So upon the project, the World Bank will be sanctioning a loan and they'll ask for the progress. Again, you have to submit the progress and get the sanction of funds. It does not require spending of loan. So World Trade Organization is not specifying whenever it giving a loan, do not spend that amount of money in particular country for the development. It never specify like that. This is a PYQ direct point. Reserve currency creates a policy conflict between domestic monetary policy and external currency policy and also foreign trade policy. Reserve currency, the currency which are there as a reserve in our country in the form of the foreign exchange reserve, that will create a conflict between our domestic monetary policy and other external currency policy, and whatever the foreign trade policy that we are having, it will also create a conflict. Kindly understand, India is having foreign trade policy, new foreign trade policy, which was introduced in 2023 till the 2028 for a 5 years time period. It started applicable from 1/4/2023 onwards. 1/4/2023 onwards, it came into force. Is that the date? And in the 2022 September itself, the old policy got discontinued and it was extended due to corona in the previous year. Next, Mercosur is a common market agreement. Here whatever we have done, which is stages of free trade area, custom union, common market and all, in that common market related agreement is Mercosur agreement, which is Uruguay, Paraguay, Argentina, all these countries are the member countries under this agreement. And Asian headquarter is at Jakarta, Indonesia. NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement, which is actually an agreement between United States, Mexico, Canada. Now NAFTA is not called as a NAFTA. NAFTA is called as an USMCA agreement. NAFTA is called as an USMCA agreement, which is 1994, if I am not wrong, 1994. 1994 originally formed. In 2020, 1st July onwards, NAFTA name changed to USMCA. NAFTA name changed to USMCA. Right? So international trade theories: mercantilism, Thomas Moon; absolute advantage theory, Adam Smith; comparative advantage theory, David Ricardo; factor proportion theory, Heckscher and O'Hlien. Heckscher is given initially, later O'Hlien is given later on. Next, country similarity theory, Stefan Linder; product life cycle theory, Raymond Vernon; Leontief paradox, Vasily Leontief; Porter, Michael Porter; diamond theory. Right, sir? Points are clear so far? Hit a like button if you like this session. So International Monetary Fund, 1944 it has been started. So for main purpose is to exchange stability, balance of payment support and monetary cooperation between the member countries. Next, IBRD, International Monetary Fund, IBRD. IBRD, International Bank for Reconstruction Development, which is a World Bank now we call it as, 1944 it is. Development and project financing. Next, GATT, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, 1947. This GATT became, name is changed to WTO in the year 1995. GATT, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, till the 1994. From 1995, 1st January onwards, the name is changed to WTO, World Trade Organization. Upon which recommendation, Uruguay round of negotiation, the name has been changed. IFC in 1956, for what purpose? Private sector development finance, International Financing Corporation, which is private sector development. IDA 1960, for concessional fees, concessional rate of interest loans to poorest countries. UNCTAD 1964, United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. Every year World Investment Report will be provided by this. And MIGA, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, which is 1988. And WTO, World Trade Organization, is in 1995, which is a successor of GATT. After the GATT, it changed to WTO. And USMCA 2020, which is replaced NAFTA in 2020. Originally, NAFTA agreement is in 1994. And kindly understand one more point. International Center for Investment Dispute Settlement. This is also one of the vertical under the, or one of the under the World Bank group. This is also there. International Center for Investment Dispute Settlement, or settlement of dispute. India is not a member country in this. Now Asian is located at Jakarta, which is a regional cooperation between the founding member countries. Total 10 member countries, and that founding members are Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand. All these 5 are founding members, and there are 5 more members who joined later. And SARC, South Asian Regional Cooperation. South Asian Regional Cooperation, which is Kathmandu, Nepal is the headquarter. And SAFTA, South Asia Free Trade Agreement, which is for the least developed countries and non-least developed countries. Categorization has been made for the trade concession. India comes under the least developed countries. India comes under the least developed countries, India and Pakistan both. Right. Mercosur Agreement, which is a South American Common Market Agreement, just now we have seen. European Union, located at Brussels, which is a deeper political integration or economic integration under the regional integration sequence. And BRICS, Shanghai is a location which is in China. So Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa are the member countries under this. First 5 countries are founding, and South Africa joined in the year 2010. Later they joined. Right, sir? And high frequency Incoterms. Here if you see, EXW means seller places the goods at own premises. EXW is a term. Buyer maximum responsibility. So here seller is keeping the goods in his own place. And FOB, free on board price. Free on board price. Risk transferred on board vessel, because when we are delivering the goods, and buyer is going to pay the charges for that. So once we dispatch from here, it is a buyer's responsibility because he is taking care of it. Here CFR means seller pays the freight at a risk of. Seller is paying for a delivery, means it is a seller risk which is involved. CFR plus insurance for the goods if anything, when we are dispatching or shipping in a waterway. Right? And here main concepts: business environment, internal external forces already completed, external factors, macro, micro, all this done. Dynamic in nature. Dynamic means business environment is keep on changing due to technology, due to policy, due to competition, due to lifestyle, which is dynamic. Every day new challenges, every day new things. Every day you cannot find the same problem for the same solution. Right? And we have relativity. Relativity is another feature. And business environment differ from country to country, region to region. Every business is different, every country is different, and the circumstances in which we are doing a business is different from others. That is what relativity. Static will not be there. Static is not a part. Static means stubborn. Business never be a stubborn. It is keep on changing. Dynamic. And here political environment includes political stability, ideology of the government, foreign policy, policy priorities. These are political environment which comes under geopolitics between the countries. How much healthy relationships are there? Even when you look at the India and Pakistan, there is no healthy relationship. So we cannot find a good relationship between them. And here legal environment, we have to follow the various laws: consumer laws, business law, competition law, FEMA, labor law, tax laws, environmental regulation, environmental protection rules and regulations, noise protection, Factories Act, Wages Act, ESI, insurance, provident fund. Many acts we have to follow. Even insolvency bankruptcy code we have to follow. That is also PYQ. Socio-cultural means shaping the attitude, values. Most important, sir. We think that this type of statements are very easy, but when it comes in examination, don't know why people are getting confused for the small terms. Shapes the attitude, values, taste, beliefs, consumption patterns, life cycle of a human being that keeps on changing, which are indicating socio-cultural environment, in which culture you are living in. Technology, innovation, automation, digitalization, e-commerce, artificial intelligence, patent, trademark, all this. Next, natural and ecological resource environment includes availability of the natural resources, climate concern, climate change, sustainability. That is why we are having sustainability development goals. And environmental scanning includes, environmental scanning is an monitoring of all the changes which are happening, which are strength, weakness, opportunities, threat. And environmental analysis is all the factors which are collected, all the factors which are collected as environmental information for making a strategy. Next, start a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis, strength and weakness are internal factor, opportunities and threats are external factor. But strength and opportunities are positive, weakness and threats are negative things. Weakness and threats are negative things. PESIL analysis includes political, economical, social, technological, legal, environmental. This is what PESIL analysis full, all the factors. Next, Porter generic strategy. Michael Porter has given a generic strategy regarding the competitiveness. When you are doing a business in the market, how you are going to make a difference from your competitor based on 3 factors. Cost leadership. When you produce your product at a lowest cost per unit, you can sell at a lowest selling price. So that you are going to hold the cost leadership. Differentiation. What is your unique selling proposition as compared to other competitors? How you are going to be different in your product? And focus on reducing the cost, focus on differentiation. That will make you to stand different in the competitors. Capitalist economy, socialist economy, mixed economy. Capitalist economy, private property, total private people are the owners, demand and supply forces will determine the price, and profit is a motto, consumer sovereignty and competition are the features. Heavy government interference will not be there, because in the capitalist economy government interference will not be there. In socialist economy it will be more, it will be more in socialist economy, right? Socialist economy, state government, central government is having a power to control the businesses, but in capitalist economy they are going to be determined by the market forces, right? Mixed economy, both private and public both are going to be there. Government, and to some extent it will impose like a maximum retail price, minimum selling price. They will fix the price controls and price ceiling, price falling, but it will not fully control the business. Right, sir. Government role in the economy. Government will be a regulator, promoter, entrepreneur, planner, facilitator, but it will not be the one who will be implementing the business. It will only facilitate. Next, business environment will help in first mover advantage. If you wanted to start the business or if you want to enter into new product category, if we move first, that will be helpful. We can capture the market. And early warning signal to leave the industry. Coping up with a change and strategy. When you analyze the environment properly, these are the advantages that you are going to have. And negative external development that can reduce the profitability and survival chances. Environmental opportunities. A favorable external development can improve the business performance. So look at the wording. A positive or favorable external development which will improvise your business performance. Understand the point. External, outside favorable things are improvise your business. And technology is often treated as a macro environment factor. Kindly understand that technology is not an external micro factor. Technology is an external macro. Under the PESIL analysis it will come. Do not confuse and go and give that micro which is external. Liberalization. Government is removing the restrictions and controls on the business and industry. Privatization, transfer of ownership and management control from public sector to private sector. Globalization means you are treating entire world as one family to do the business. Next, new economic policy in 1991, which has brought the LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization as part of the economic reforms has been introduced under the then Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao, which is up to now in the past 40 years. The 1991 changes are the utmost important, which has shaped the Indian economic structure. That is why this LPG reforms are utmost important for Indian country. And liberalization objective is to remove excessive licensing quotas or any permits or restriction. Licensing system has been removed and it has given freedom to fly like anything to do the business, to protect our economy and improvise our global trade. And a disinvestment. What is disinvestment? When the sale of public sector undertaking like a sale of BSNL, sale of MTNL, all these big public sector undertaking, we are selling it to private people. We are taking back our investment. And strategic investment means transfer of management control with a sale of substantial government shareholding. We are transferring to other party, right? FDI, foreign direct investment liberalization. We are allowing the foreign government under the automatic route and government approved. Automatic route means the sectors which are mentioned on the automatic route doesn't require any government permission to enter into Indian market as part of FDI, because there, after coming to India and setting up your business in India, you have to take a permission of only RBI within 30 days. But initially it is not required. In government route, before coming into the India as part of FDI, you have to take a permission of RBI. You have to take a permission of Government of India. Then only they will allow you to do the business. There are certain sectors which are mentioned, which comes under the government, which comes under the automatic route. BPO, sorry, outsourcing, contracting non-core activities. When I am not the expert in certain thing, I will take the outsourcing or freelancing of that work from that expert person. And BPO, business process outsourcing, deals with the main operation. Whichever the main operation I have to do, I will take outsourcing. KPO, knowledge process outsourcing. Only knowledge based intensive services will be taking to do the business. And LPO, legal process outsourcing, deals with the legal documentation, drafting, research services. And also globalization benefits. It is going to have a wider market, better technology, lower cost, higher competition. All these things are going to be there. Next, economic reforms. It increase the productivity, competitiveness, employment, foreign investment. All these are comes under the economic reforms, which comes under here. Globalization is not merely a export promotion. It is wider economic integration, trading, goods and services, capital movement between the countries, technology movement between the countries. Globalization doesn't mean we are just selling the goods or we are importing the goods. Globalization is connecting with a globe in part of the technology, in part of the trade, in part of the capital inflow and outflow. And technology is moving between the countries as part of FDI. Like corporate social responsibility, it is Carroll model is ethical, legal, economic, legal, ethical and philanthropic, which is a four-layer pyramid. And economic responsibility must be profitable and provide reasonable returns and fair wages. Legal is follow the law of the land. Ethical, do what is right, just fair and beyond the legal compliance. Philanthropic, voluntarily contribute to the community welfare, voluntarily contribute to the charity, for the social development, for the public welfare. Next, these remaining approaches are not that much. Triple bottom line, you can see triple bottom line, profit, people, planet. These three things represents the economic, social, environmental performance. Profit represents the economic performance, people represent the social performance, planet represents the environmental performance. Triple bottom line, ESG, environmental, social and governance factors, which are responsible for investing sustainability evaluation. And here, consumer responsibility of the business is supply the safe goods, avoid exploitation, right? Provide after sales service, avoid misleading advertisement. All these are basically comes under consumer responsibility of a business. And Consumer Protection Act 1986, old law. This was linked with a protection against the unfair trade practices and defective goods. Consumer Protection Act 2019, which is a replacement for 1986 law. Now it is not there, 1986, 2019 is replaced. This has been added the consumer rights, e-commerce complaints, product liability, central consumer authority mechanism also been introduced. Right, what are the rights available to the consumer? Basically, protection against the, and Consumer Protection Act, when it came into force, 24th December 1986, sorry 2019, 1986 I think. Subject to correction, I will confirm by the end of the session. Right to safety, protection against the goods. Right to seek information, to get the information about the quality, quantity, potency, purity, and right to choose, access to variety of goods that are available, and right to be heard. It must receive due consideration and appropriate forum, and right to seek redressal, remedy against the unfair trade practices, and right to education, right to acquire the knowledge and skill and making informed decisions or consumption. Here, CSR is not just only for charity. Kindly understand, corporate social responsibility is not just only for charity. Is not just only for charity. It includes economic, legal, ethical, and philanthropic responsibilities beyond something, beyond the charity. International trade theories, international trade, which is trade is indicating goods and services only. Business is indicating beyond the goods and services. Right. International marketing is planning and executing a marketing activities across the national markets. MNC, multinational company who is doing a production activities more than one country. Transnational company, transnational company that coordinates and operate across the countries with a global perspective. So on a global perspective, it will be. Yes, 20 July 2019 is the new law. 24th December 1986 is old law effective date. Superb. Who is that? Kalyani. Ethnocentric, polycentric, regiocentric. Ethnocentric, home country practices. And polycentric, host country practices. Regiocentric, region wise one strategy. Geocentric, the whole world is treated as one single strategy. One size fits for all approach. One size fits for all approach. Very good morning, everyone. And here, internationalization sequence. Sir, I request you to type this one. Internationalization of sequence. This is an expected question. Probably. First, decide whether to go abroad or not to do the business. Then choose the market. Which market you want to enter? US market or which country market? Decide the time when to enter into the market. Then choose the scale. At what scale you are going to operate your business in another country. Then choose entry mode, franchising, licensing, which mode you are going to enter into the business. So decide whether to go abroad, go globally or not. Choose the market, choose the timing, when to enter, and choose scale. Scale is nothing but at what base, at what scale you are going to operate. Whether it is you are going to invest large amount or small amount or only baby steps. And choose the entry mode, what type of entry you are expecting. Exporting means exporting. Lowest commitment entry, just by sitting at home you are exporting to other countries. That is exporting activity basically. By sitting at home you are exporting to other countries. Right? And indirect exporting is indirect exporting. Exporting through other export houses. You are not directly exporting, you are exporting to other countries. You are exporting to other countries with the help of other export houses. Not directly you are exporting. Right, agents, trading companies will be taking a help. And here licensing means we are giving our patented license or trademark license to use to other country company, use and pay certain periodical rentals to me. Franchising, we are permitting the franchise to use our brand and business model in a prescribed manner. Franchisee charges or commission will be paid. Turnkey project, what is turnkey? We are asking the contractor in another country, make a full design, buy a land, construct the building, set up everything, hire the people, buy the machinery, finally just hand over the key to me. I will come and do the business in that country. That is how turnkey project is. Joint venture, two or more firms share the ownership and control and risk written in a business entity, joint venture. And strategic alliance, cooperative management between the firms without necessarily creating separate legal entity. Strategic alliance is nothing but a cooperation without necessarily creating a separate legal entity. And your greenfield strategy, brownfield strategy. Greenfield strategy, we are starting in another country as a business from the scratch. From the beginning, we are only purchasing the land, we are only going and constructing the building, we are only constructing the setup, everything we are doing it. That is greenfield. Brownfield means we are going to other country and just acquiring existing business to do our business. We are just acquiring existing facilities in host country. Born global firm that are internationalization rapidly from the beginning, from the birth of the firm. It is basically as a global firm only, as an international firm only, or international company only, it has been formed. Next, PYQ trap. Licensing has a low investment and low control, and wholly owned subsidiaries has a high investment and high control. Sir, one of the question I just wanted to ask you, whether how many people will answer, let's see. One question was there. Question was very clear. Which is the highest risk of mode of entering into international business? Number one, direct exporting. Second is licensing. Third one is wholly owned subsidiary. Fourth one is direct investment into other country, which is highly risky in nature. Which is highly risky in nature. Direct investment is highly risky in nature. This is a PYQ, straight PYQ. Do not think that franchising or wholly owned subsidiary are beyond the wholly owned subsidiary. When you are going and setting up everything in the beginning itself, direct investment you are doing it, which is highly risky in nature. You don't know that country and how you are going to operate. If any problem comes, you will be under the risk. So that is option 4 only, direct investment. Perfect. You are on line. Great. Right. Next, international trade theories. As we discussed, what are the international trade theories? Can anyone please tell? International trade theories. Left side, right side, we have. International trade theories. Fast. Sir, look at this one, this slide very carefully. Country based. I am not going to discuss all these things. I am just focusing on the year and sequential arrangement. Question will hit on arrange the following international trade theories in the sequence in the year of establishment or in the year of proponent of the theory. Mercantilism theory 1613, the first one given by Thomas More. Absolute advantage theory 1776, second theory given by the Adam Smith. The third one 1817, comparative advantage theory given by David Ricardo. 1930, opportunity cost theory given by Gottfried Habler. And factor endowment theory, we are having two things. 1919 given by 𝐓𝐿𝐻𝐿. Later it was modified by the Bertlin Ohlin in 1933. So HO model, Heckscher and Ohlin. Heckscher in 1919, Ohlin in 1933. Factor intensity reversal theory, which is called as a Leontief paradox theory, which is quite opposite or negated with a factor endowment theory, is given by B.S. Minhas in 1962. So 1962, somehow later than the modern theories. The sequence try to remember. Modern firm theories before the Minhas, factor intensity reversal, product life cycle theory given by the Raymond Vernon. 1961, country similarity theory, Stephen Linder. Global strategic rivalry 1980, Paul and Kevin. And Porter national competitive advantage theory 1990, which is the last and final in the international business. All right. The sequential arrangement. Tomorrow you will find a definite question on this. Definite means 100% sure question. And I am not going to discuss now all these things. It is completed. It is completed. Leontief paradox is a contradiction of Heckscher and Ohlin. It is not a separate classical theory. Leontief or factor intensity reversal theory in 1961 or 63. It was a theory which is opposed or criticized the HO model, HO theory, Heckscher and Ohlin model of theory. It is not a separate classical theory. FDI is the one when we are investing into physical investment of other country, or we are inviting the physical investment into our country. FPI, foreign portfolio investment, we are investing into securities, financial assets, right? FDI is long term and FPI is more of short term and liquidity in nature. Whenever we want, we can take back. Horizontal FDI, vertical FDI. Horizontal FDI means we are entering into same businesses. If I am doing a transportation business, I will enter into the FDI with a transportation business only. I'll do the same business in another country. Vertical means if I am a manufacturer, I will do the supplier business in another country, like that. Vertical FDI. Conglomerate means where whatever I am doing in this country, I will not do the same business in another country. Two different businesses, unrelated businesses. Greenfield, brownfield already completed. FDI under the automatic route, without the prior approval, subject to selective condition. Without the prior approval. And here FDI under the automatic route is that one. Under the government route, it take a prior approval of the government and competent authority. Right? FDI is going to benefit the host country, capital inflow, employment, technology transfer, managerial skills and all. FDI is cost to host country, because profit repatriation may cause the capital outflow. It may pressure the balance of payment. FDI is a cost to the host country where we are investing, that is called a host country. It is a cost. And here FDI cost to host country, domestic firm may face market dominance. If the Walmart came into picture in India, when Walmart was coming, political agitation was created. Political parties were not accepted that Walmart to come into India because it will disturb the domestic competition. It will create a negative impact on the domestic retailers, which is why it was negated, because domestic firms may face market dominance by foreign firms. That's why they have not accepted. Later it has been accepted. Right? OLI paradigm, ownership, location, internationalization are the advantages which explain the FDI. Next, host country, when it is attracting the FDI through market size, cheap labor, infrastructure, resources and strategic location. Why are we inviting FDI into India? Because of main one factor, Indian labor is a major abundant resource. Because of that, many people are ready to invest in India. And market seeking FDI, when we are investment is based on the growing market. India is a growing market, that's why they are investing, which is a market seeking FDI. Resource seeking is FDI in Abu Dhabi or else in Russian countries, oil resources are more. So whichever the business is requiring more oil resources will go and invest into that country. Efficiency seeking means we are reducing the cost through scale, labor and process efficiency. And strategic asset seeking, investment is aimed at acquiring technology, brand, patent capabilities. And Foreign Exchange Management Act, it is administered by the RBI. Capital account transactions are maintained by the RBI and current account transactions are maintained by the central government generally. Next, FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act used to be there, which was criminal and civil penalties. Now the FEMA is purified version, which is focusing only on the civil penalties, not on criminal. Next, DGFT under the foreign trade policy, which is governing the export and import policy. DGFT, Directorate General of Foreign Trade, under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, implement the foreign trade policy in India. Importer Exporter Code, IEC code is a key identification number for import and export business in India. Right, there is a scheme called Advance Authorization Scheme. It means allow the duty-free import on inputs. Now we are importing certain input raw material to produce the goods which are to be exported to other country. On those type of input raw material, there will not be any duty. We are giving it for free. allow the duty free on the imports which are being used for producing the exporting goods. For that, duty free, no duty will be imposed. EPGC, Export Promotion Capital Goods Scheme, which is importing of capital goods at a concessional duty, because that capital goods are nothing but plant, machinery, any equipment which are required for doing a business or for a production, that will be at a concessional rate. You can able to get it. Deemed export, even though supplier treated as export, even though goods are not leaving India, under FTP condition, foreign trade policy condition, it is defined as a deemed export. FPI, foreign portfolio investment, does not give a managerial control, but FDI is a full control will be there. Balance of payment, only unit 1 is taking this much amount of time. 1 hour, unit 1 itself is taking 1 hour. Okay, because more points are there in the unit 1, that's why. Other units are not this much. Unit 1 and unit 6, this both will take time. Balance of trade, only export and import. Balance of trade, export and import of the goods only. Trade means trade. And adverse means imports are more, favorable means exports are more. Balance of payment, current account, records only goods and services income and unilateral transfer. Capital account, it records the capital inflow and outflow, private and private transactions, private investment, FDI, FPI, all under the capital account. What is disequilibrium? When credit is not equal to debit, or if any surplus or deficit is coming, then we can say balance of payment disequilibrium. Disequilibrium. So always we expect that inflow should be equal to outflow. That is what balance of payment means. But in theory only it will work. In practical it will never be equal. So that disequilibrium are certain measures to cover the disequilibrium. Monetary contraction, devaluation, exchange control are the measures, monetary measures to control the disequilibrium. Abolition of export duty, it is not a monetary measure. Export duty, we are just only providing a subsidy in that. Next, devaluation. Devaluation, depreciation, revaluation, appreciation of the currency. Devaluation means official reduction in value of domestic currency under the fixed exchange rate. Depreciation is market, in the market, the fall in value of the domestic currency. That is depreciation. Revaluation means under fixed exchange rate, we are trying to increase officially our currency value. Appreciation means market wise. So depreciation, appreciation is happening due to market. Devaluation, revaluation is officially government is doing wantonly. Right. Flexible exchange rate is determined by the demand and supply, whereas fixed exchange rate is currency value pegged to another currency. When we are comparing with another currency or a basket of currencies under the IMF SDG, that will determine. Right. Transaction exposure, translation exposure, and operating or economic exposure. Transaction, the rate, exchange rate change on the settlement value of the receivable and payable already contracted. So actually the contract has been made, but on the day of execution of our transaction, the exchange rate is different from what we executed previously. So due to that, difference in exchange rate is coming. That is called transaction risk exposure. Translation means when we are converting the foreign assets and liabilities and statements in the financial statement, all financial statements should show a single currency. When we are converting in the process of translating one currency into another currency, on the date of balance sheet date, on the date of transaction executed, the difference between the rates will be there. That is translation. Operating or economic exposure is the rate at which affects the rate at which future cash flows and cost and competitiveness will get impacted. Next, international investment position statement will be there. It is a statistical statement showing external financial assets and liabilities at a point of time. And what is reserve currency? The currency holded by the central bank, financial institution as a foreign exchange reserves. Foreign exchange reserve. Bretton Woods conference conducted in 1944, which led to IMF and World Bank, and it is also called as an Bretton Woods twins. Bretton Woods is fixed exchange rate based on US gold convertibility and exchange rate convertibility. Sir, kindly remember, I will show you this also. I will show you this also. the sequential arrangement of this are this will come. You can see sequential arrangement, international monetary arrangement. The sequential arrangement are basically like this. In the beginning, before 1870 year, commodity are bimetallism. Bimetallism. Classical gold standard in 1870 to 1914 time period. Later gold exchange 1920s. Interwar period in 1930s. Now here onwards Bretton Woods started. The question was very clear in the previous year. Bretton Woods system, whatever was there, in how many years it got lasted? What is the time period? 1944 till the 1971. Bretton Woods system was continued. 44 to 71. 44 to 71. Almost 26 years Bretton Woods system of monetary arrangement was there. Later Smithsonian arrangement 1971 and 73. Later flexible or floating exchange rate system. Later regional monetary system. Later Lahore Accord. Now we are following European Union or Eurozone. The sequential arrangement PYQ was there. Clearly the PYQ has been asked. So kindly take a screenshot of this one. Sequential arrangement has been asked. So that is what gold standard, interwar or managed arrangement, Bretton Woods and floating. So Bretton Woods time period is 1944 to 1971. Right? Special drawing rights are the basket of currencies which are by the IMF, International Monetary Fund. BOB is a broader term than BOT. BOT is only goods. GATT, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade 1947, and in 1st January 1995 as part of the Uruguay rounds of negotiation, that WTO replacement made, which is WTO replaced the GATT. WTO major objective is to promote a rule-based, predictable, non-discriminatory, liberalized international trade between the countries, and ministerial conference is the highest decision-making body in the WTO. It conducts day-to-day operation, acts as a dispute settlement body, and here main functions are administer the agreement of WTO, agreement on agriculture, GATTs, TRIPS, provide a negotiation forum, settle the dispute, review the trade policies, cooperate with the IMF or World Bank. And here direct lending for development is not the core function. World Trade Organization will not give any loans directly. That is not the duty of WTO. IMF duty is to give the loans. World Bank duty is to give the loans, not the World Trade Organization. MFN principle, most favored nations, basically. Any trade advantage given to one WTO member must be generally extended to all WTO members. You cannot give advantage to most favored nation or least favored nation like that. Don't show the discrimination, which is why WTO itself is made it as non-discriminatory. Do not show partiality. Right. GATT cover only goods. GATTs will cover the service also. TRIPS is intellectual property. TRIPS is related to investment measures. Agreement on agriculture. We are having WTO subsidy boxes. Amber box is for trade distorting the domestic product. Green box is minimally trade distorting. Blue box is limiting the blue box is production limiting support. Trade distorting is amber box. Green box is minimally trade distorting, and production limiting support is blue box. Jumbo box or black box, it is not the WTO subsidy boxes. Dumping, we are selling the goods at a lower price than normal value is called dumping. Dumping. We have 4 types of dumping. Sporadic dumping. Just we produce in India, excess stock is produced. Just to dispose that excess stock in other country, we are selling at a lower price. That is sporadic dumping. Predatory dumping means wantedly, just to kick out the competitor from the market, we are selling at a lower price, even below cost also we are selling, which is illegal in India. And persistent dumping means we are continuously selling at a lower price in another country for a longer time period, Anti-dumping process means in order to stop this dumping process, we have to file a petition, and that petition, once you file a complaint, it will be investigated, determine the dumping and injury, how much it happened to domestic economy, then finally the review mechanism and final judgment will be passed. GATT rounds of negotiation conducted in Geneva first, later Annecy round, later Turquoise, Geneva 2, Dilian round, Kennedy round, Tokyo round, Uruguay and Doha. These are GATT sequential arrangements of GATT rounds of negotiation. GATT rounds of negotiation, right? You can find here GATT rounds of negotiation. You can see Geneva round, after that Annecy round, Turquoise round, Geneva 2, Dilian round, Kennedy, Tokyo, Uruguay, Doha, Cancun, Hong Kong, Geneva, Bali package is a recent one. Bali package. After that, WTO ministerial conference also there. But look at this only. Rounds of negotiation which was conducted from old to latest. Geneva, Annecy, Turquoise, Geneva 2, Dilian, Kennedy, Tokyo, Uruguay, Doha, Cancun and Hong Kong, Geneva, Bali package. If you want, take a screenshot of this. Right, sir. All these are covered. Kennedy round done. IMF is basically for international monetary cooperation and exchange rate stability and balance of payment support. It provides a long-term, World Bank is providing a long-term developmental and project financing. In that World Bank, we are having International Development Association and International Finance Corporation, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, International Center for Settlement of Dispute, and World Bank lending principle is that loans for specific economical and technical sound projects, and borrowing country, whoever is taken the loan under this World Bank, they are not expected to spend the loan proceeds in particular country only, right? And UNCTAD, United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, it will be the one who will be investment or World Investment Report every year will be published. Asian Development Bank supports the economic and social development in Asia and Pacific. And also IMF and IBRD are Bretton Woods institution. WTO is not direct result of Bretton Woods. Regional cooperation already completed, sir. Regional cooperation is already completed. NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement, which is now USMCA agreement, United States, Canada and Mexico. It replaced in 2020 1st July. Association of Southeast Nations headquartered Jakarta, Indonesia. I hope all these are completed. RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership among the Asia Pacific. Why I am escaping this one? Because I already covered in the beginning. First 5 minutes you can check it out. Export and import procedure, which is the final point of the discussion, sir. Export procedure. First make an inquiry or order. Then make a pro forma invoice, quotation. Later make a contract. Then finance, production or procurement, ship the goods, documentation and get the payment. This is how the export processing procedure, right? And here certain bills are there, which are shipping bill is nothing but when we are sending the goods to clearing house, like to the port. Bill of lading. Bill of lading is issued by the shipping company that we received the goods for shipping purpose. Airway bill, the goods carrier, air carrier will be airport authorities. Mate receipt is shipment cargo has been loaded onto the boat. Bill of exchange, a written order exporting directing importer to pay specified amount. And letter of credit, we are asking the bank undertaking to pay exporter if documents are comply with the terms. Packaging credit, if you want to get a loan regarding the packaging, the pre-shipment and post-shipment package, you can able to get it from Export and Import Bank of India, Exim Bank, right? Here Incoterms is one which we have used. International commercial terms defining risk transfer, cost sharing and obligation of buyer and seller. International commercial terms defining risk transfer, cost sharing and obligation of the buyer. Right? These points has been discussed in one single table itself. International marketing, this we will cover in the marketing part, sir. In marketing, these points will come. As of now, you just try to understand uh, everything. I think standardization, adoption, price, distribution, channelization, communication, all will cover in the marketing. So we'll cover in the marketing itself. Unit 1 is now completed. Actually, unit 1 is taking more time, but remaining units are not that much. I will cover in a simple manner. Good to go. Shall I start the second unit? PYQ points. What is unit 2? Accounting and audit. Accounting and audit first. So basically vouching, the audit. Vouching is an examination of documentary evidence. It is called as a backbone of auditing. Vouching is because of inflation, export will increase or decrease. Export, see, inflation is your country increasing the prices in your country, and at a higher rate when you are getting, then definitely it will reduce your exports. We are incurring high cost to export. So vouching is a documentary evidence which are backbone of the auditing. Verification is we are just confirming the assets existence, ownership, possession, completeness, valuation of the assets. Verification is for asset balance sheet and vouching is for all the transactions. And standards and auditing 705, we are having a modified opinion. Modified opinion, unmodified opinion or clear opinion is nothing but everything is clear. Financial statements are showing a true and fair view of the financial statement and there is no problem in that. That is what unmodified opinion. When it comes to modified opinion or qualified opinion, modified opinion is divided into three parts. Modified opinion. Unmodified is financial statements are prepared, everything is true according to the financial reporting framework. And here qualified opinion, adverse opinion, disclaimer of opinion is the three things comes under modified opinion. So qualified means financial statements are showing a true and fair view, but some misstatements are there. Some misstatements are there in the financial statement that is not going to impact much on the financial position of the company. It is not persuasive in nature, then it is qualified. And adverse means negative report. So much financial misstatements are there that will impact on the financial statements and financial position of the company. So the negative report will be given. It is persuasive and it is material. And also disclaimer of opinion means as a auditor, I believe that there are some material misstatements in your financial statements, but I was not able to obtain the sufficient audit evidence to prove that one. But I feel I am 100% sure there are material misstatements. Like that will disclaim the opinion, which is called disclaimer of opinion. And management audit, it is not compulsory under any law. It is comprehensive and critical review of management policies, actions and efficiency. Section 148 of the Companies Act 2013 is related to cost audit for some manufacturing entities. And conservatism, anticipate the losses and the expenses. Anticipate the future losses and expenses, but do not anticipate and record the profits in your business account. Separate entity, business is separate from the owner and owner is separate from the business. and that is why we are showing the capital as a liability in the balance sheet. And a dual aspect, for every debit there is a credit. Prepaid insurance is representative personal account. It is another traditional classification of nominal, personal, and real account. Under the personal, it is representative personal. Ind AS frequently asked. Ind AS 2, which is inventory. Ind AS 7, statement of cash flows. 16 is property, plant and equipment. Ind AS 24, related party disclosure. Ind AS 36, impairment of asset. 103, business combination. 110 is consolidated financial statements. Ind AS 13 is fair value measurement. These Ind AS are frequently repeated. And XBRL terminology. What is XBRL? Extensive, extensible business reporting language. Extensible business reporting language. It is an international standard format for writing a business reporting. Basically, in a cost audit report, we'll write in this language only. And transmission of share and transfer of share. Transmission, it is takes place by operation of law. Death or insolvency of a partner, automatically the shares will be transferred to the nominee. Transfer means you are voluntarily selling a shares to somebody and it is not because of death or insolvency. Next, security premium, the amount which we have collected above the face value, we cannot use it for any other purpose, like we cannot use it for dividend. We can use it only for 5 mentioned purpose under section 52 of the Companies Act. That is for issuing a bonus shares we can use, issuing a preliminary expense for making a preliminary expenses of the company, and issue of the shares expenses like a discount on issue expenses, commission. You can use it for the premium on redemption of the shares and buyback of the shares. In all these 5 purpose only you can use the security premium account balance. Share forfeiture account is going to be credited with already amount whatever is received, because whenever shares are forfeited which are being cancelled, right, share capital will be debited and share forfeiture account will be credited. And here reissue discount cannot exceed the forfeited amount. Reissue discount cannot exceed the forfeited amount. And methods of new issue: public issue through prospectus, right issue, offer for sale or private placement, book building, all these things. But bonus issue is just a capitalization of reserves. It is not the new issue from the public. Internal reconstruction, section 66 of the Companies Act 2013. Existing company continued on new company is not getting formed in the reconstruction. It is only reducing the unhealthy position of a company. Amalgamation in the nature of merger, it is also called as a pooling of interest method. All the assets and liabilities are taken over. There are 5 conditions. All the assets and liabilities of a selling company should be purchased by the purchasing company, and same business has to continue. At least 90% of equity holders of selling company should become the equity shareholders in the buying company. And also, don't change the values, book values, unless it is required by accounting standard to show the uniformity. And what is minority interest? Minority interest is a portion of subsidiary in the holding and subsidiary accounts. Whatever the portion, 70% is holding company, then 30% value of the shares, value of the debentures, value of profit, all this will become minority interest. Partnership, section 31 deals with admission of partner. When new partner acquires a share from the old partner, in sacrificing ratio, old share minus new share will be calculated. And dissolution of partnership, first pay off the outside liabilities, then pay the partner loan, then pay the partner's capital, then surplus, if it is anything is there, share between the partners in a capital ratio, profit sharing ratio. CVP, cost volume profit analysis, which is units for the target profit. First, recover the cost, fixed cost, then target profit, how much it is required. So to gain the target profit, how much sales you need to do? Fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution per unit, number of units to be sold, or divided by PV ratio, means amount in rupees it will come. ABC, process costing sequence. First, how many in process 1, how many input raw material units you are inserting. Then in process 1, how much percentage of completion, which is equivalent production, percentage of completion. In process 2, how much percentage of completion. Cost per one equivalent unit, based on percentage of completion if you are doing, means cost per equivalent unit. right? Evaluation and assignment. Evaluation and assignment of per unit whatever we calculated, then will be transferred to process account. Will be transferred to process account. ABC, activity based costing sequence. First specify the process, identify the main activities, then identify the non value adding activities or the cost pools, select the cost drivers and calculate the cost drivers. Finally, you have to allocate that cost. You have to allocate that cost to the activity, each activity. Material cost variance and all, that is basically it require all the formulas to be discussed. AS3, Ind AS3, cash flow in statement of cash flows. So in indirect method of operating activities, first we'll calculate the net profit before tax. For that, operating profit before working capital, after doing adding depreciation, adding amortization, deducting any surplus which are non-operating, we'll get operating profit before working capital changes. Then we'll make a working capital changes. Then we'll calculate cash generated from operations. After that, income tax to be paid, any extraordinary adjustment need to perform, then we'll get cash flow before extraordinary item. After paying the tax and extraordinary item adjustment, we'll get it. Inflation accounting under the current purchasing power method separates the monetary and non-monetary items. Like inventories are non-monetary and it was given by Sutherland committee, current cost accounting method. Sutherland committee is recommended current cost accounting method. Inventories are non-monetary. This classification is done in current purchasing power method. Human resource accounting, authors. Historical cost, Brumet, Flamhoge and Pyle. And opportunity cost is Heckman and Jones. Standard cost is David Watson. Present value of future earning is 𝐓𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐤𝐬 𝐅𝐨𝐫 𝐖𝐚𝐭𝐜𝐡𝐢𝐧𝐠. Right. This basic concepts of accounting I am not going to touch. That is not complicated also. Accounting standard. AS1 disclosure of accounting policies. AS3 statement of cash flow. These are according to the old. AS10 property, plant and equipment. But in Ind AS it is 16. Leases 19 in old. And in the new one it is leases. Leases are not, okay, it is not given here. Consolidated financial statement in the old one AS21, but here it is consolidated financial statements are 110, 110, 110. These are all things done. And Ind AS converged with IFRS, but not a carve out. Whatever Ind AS is converged with IFRS. So whatever we are following, it is IFRS supplementation. And it is not fully IFRS complement. It is not fully IFRS complement. Public issuing of securities to the public through prospectus to raise it from the new investors. Right issue, offering a shares to the existing shareholder at a lower cost. Book building is method of discovering the issue price based on the bidding process. And bonus issue, capitalization of reserves. Calls in advance, amount paid in shareholder, excess of amount due on calls. And oversubscription means whatever we have issued shares but applications are more. And security premium already been covered. For feature also already been covered. Transmission is only by dissolution by operation of law. We are transferring a share to nominee or death of a person. Transfer of shares, voluntarily you are only doing it willfully. You are selling a shares to another party. And here, no consideration, no stamp duty and original liabilities attached to shares will continue in transmission of shares. But in transfer, you have to obtain the consideration. Shareholders cannot demand the dividend as a debt unless dividend is validly declared. When it is declared, then only they can demand it. Otherwise, they cannot. Amalgamation in the nature of merger, done. C. Amalgamation in the nature of purchase and nature of merger. In nature of merger, it will be like this. in purchase method. In purchasing company books of account, we'll write like this. Purchasing company books of account. What do we do? Sundry asset what we are getting into our business, and two, sundry liability what we are paying, and two, business purchase as a purchase consideration we are paying. What we are getting is more than the what we are paying, then obviously it will be a profit transferred to general reserve. Or what we are getting is lesser than what we are paying, then it will be a loss. That is also general profit and loss account will send it. If it is a loss, it is merger case, either profit or loss, general reserve. Whereas in purchase method, sundry asset to sundry liability we are paying, and to business purchase for a purchase consideration. If suppose what we are getting, this debit is more than credit, means we are getting extra. We are paying only 10 lakh, but what we are getting is 12 lakh worth of assets. This 2 lakh is a capital reserve profit. It will be transferred to capital reserve in the nature of purchase. And here, if it is a loss, what we are getting is 12 lakh, but what we are paying is 15 lakhs. Then it will be a goodwill. Why are we paying extra to that company? Because of part of the goodwill only we are paying extra, which is 3 lakhs. Loss. It is not a loss. What we are paying extra, because of their goodwill we are paying extra. That is why it is to be debited. Liquidator distribution. In liquidation, first we'll pay the legal charges, later liquidator remuneration or expenses, then we'll pay to secured creditors, preferential creditors, floating charge creditors, later unsecured creditors. After that, if any amount is left over, they'll come to the equity. Right. So winding up petition may be filed by company, shareholder, creditor or prospective creditor or person authorized by central government or legal heirs. Legal charges, liquidator and remuneration expenses. Legal charges, liquidator remuneration, secured creditors, preferential creditors, after that unsecured creditors. The sequence of payment in the process of liquidation. Right. Winding up process by the tribunal. Here petition will be filed, appointment of liquidator by the tribunal, liquidator will be submitting a report, tribunal direct on the report and go for the distribution. After this distribution settlement, then this process will be started. Distribution of liquidation. If there is no partnership deed, obviously profits and losses shared equally, no salary, no remuneration, only interest on partner loan will be 6%. It will be applicable. Animal goodwill. Cat goodwill is considered as the best goodwill because it is remain attached to the business or a place. Cat is the best goodwill. Out of the dog goodwill, cat goodwill, rat goodwill, rabbit goodwill. Cat goodwill is the best because it is remain attached to the place. Admission of a partner. Sacrificing ratio is old ratio minus new ratio. Gaining ratio is new minus old ratio. And in case of admission of a partner, goodwill will be shared in sacrificing ratio. In case of retirement of death, retiring partner share will be shared by in a gaining ratio. Profit or loss on revaluation of asset transferred to old partner capital account only in a old ratio. And here new ratio is not equal to the share sacrificed minus old share. It is old share minus sacrificing is the new ratio. Retiring partner which is not paid, we have to settle the amount to retiring partner, but until the repayment it will be transferred to loan account of retired partner in the balance sheet. Right. And death of the partner, if B and C continues 3:2, the total adjusted capital is 6 lakh and B capital becomes 3/5, which is 6 lakh into 3/5 will become 3 lakh 60. Like one question is given on December 2025, that question explanation only it is. Partnership dissolution, section 48. Firm assets are applied to first to outsider liabilities. First pay the outsider liability. Then only it will come to the equity or the partners. Resolution for first outside liability, later loans and advances to outside liabilities, then partners after then partner loans, after that partners capital. If anything left over, still it will be distributed to partner in profit sharing ratio. Marginal costing, PV ratio equal to contribution equal to sales minus variable cost. PV ratio, contribution by sales into 100, break even, fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. If it is by PV ratio, sales in rupees. Target profit, fixed cost plus target profit by contribution margin. If it is contribution PV ratio, then it is in rupees. Margin of safety, actual sales minus break even sales. And margin of safety is basically a profit making sales. So margin of safety is equal to profit in rupees. Profit divided by PV ratio, or profit divided by contribution per unit means margin of safety in number of units. CVP analysis shows the relationship among the cost, volume and selling price and profit. The assumptions of CVP, cost, volume, profit analysis: selling price, variable cost per unit and fixed cost, sales mix, productivity, all these are constant. Then only CVP analysis will work. Selling price, variable cost per unit, fixed cost, sales mix, productivity, all are going to be constant. All are going to be constant. And your CVP limitation term. Margin of safety is not necessarily constant at a different levels of sales. Not necessarily constant. This is the limitations of cost, volume, profit analysis. And process costing, used for homogeneous product which are continuously produced with a different process. Process 1, process 2, process 3. Objective is to identify the average cost per unit for each completed process. Based on the equivalent production, it will be there. Right? Based on equivalent production. ABC costing hierarchy, most important, most important. ABC costing, activity based costing, happens at a unit level or later batch level, product level, facility level. Unit level, batch level, product level, facility level are the sequence of hierarchy of ABC costing method. ABC costing method. Right? ABC cost drivers are transaction, duration, intensity are the relevant cost drivers for cost driver, which is for the whole driver types. ABC sequence, identify the activity, collect the cost pools, determine the drivers, calculate the cost drivers, and finally charge activities to product. This is one PYQ. Another way, first process specification, identify the main activity, then identify non-value adding activities or the cost pools, select the cost drivers and training and reviewing them. This is one way of asking a question, and second way, both are PYQ direct. Target costing is nothing but target selling price minus desired profit. And here variance, standard costing. Basically standard costing is a predetermined standard for each cost element and control the variances if any. Here costing process is first set the standards, then ascertain or calculate the actuals, compare standards and actual and identify the variance, then investigate that variance, why this variance has been arrived. Direct material cost variance, standard cost for actual output minus actual cost. Actual quantity into, here direct cost variance, material cost variance is having material price variance and material usage variance or quantity variance. Difference between the price multiplied by actual quantity is a price variance. Difference between the quantity multiplied by the standard price is usage or quantity variance. Same way it is applicable for labor as well as the overhead also. And responsibility accounting, it is very closer control, objective performance measurement and cost consciousness. We are creating a responsibility on the shoulders of a people who are dealing with that particular activity. We will keep a close control and will measure how the performance is there. Cost consciousness, trying to reduce the cost. Delegation and corrective measure. Delegation and corrective measure will be taken. It supports decentralization, distribution of powers at a various levels. That is what responsibility accounting. Right. And cash budget methods are receipt and payment method, adjustment profit and loss method, balance sheet method. There is nothing called gross cash cycle method. Balance sheet method is there, adjustment P&L method, receipt and payment method. And inventory turnover ratio equal to cost of goods sold divided by average inventory. Higher the turnover means lower the inventory holding for a same period. ABC activity, this is ABC is based on the value. We are categorizing the inventory. We are controlling the inventory based on A category means high value and low quantity. C category means high quantity, low value. JIT system, just in time. Whenever we require, we'll order for the raw material. And then whenever the order is been received from the customer, we'll place the order for raw material and produce the goods and dispose or sell. That is just in time. Right? Sunk cost means the cost is already been incurred for future decision making. Fixed cost is maybe irrelevant. Fixed cost may be relevant if it does not change between alternative. And yes, sunk cost is already incurred. It is in sync. It will not change. And based on that, we will not consider for decision making. Human resource accounting suggested by Brumet, Flamouche and Pale. Cost approach. Historical cost is for Brumet, Flamouche and Pale. HRA replacement associated with the Rensis, Linkert and Flamouche. Opportunity cost. Hakim and Jones. David Watson, standard cost. Levin Shahwaj, present value of future earning model. And intellectual capital management flow. First identify that intellectuality, then capture, index them, store and replicate. Store and replicate. Last and final point of discussion is financial statement ratios. Current ratio, current asset divided by current liability. Working capital, current asset minus current liability. And current ratio is above 1 means current liability can be, paying current liability can improve the current ratio, or purchasing more current assets also can improve the current ratio. Quick ratio, quick asset divided by current liability. So inventory and prepaid expenses will be removed from the current assets. Debt equity ratio, long term debt to total debt. And here debt equity, it indicates long term solvency and measures the ability to pay long term liabilities. Debt equity ratio is about long term solvency and ability to pay long term liabilities. EBIT by interest expense is interest only we are getting covered with a profit or not. And ROA, return on asset, equal to profit margin or net profit margin into total asset turnover. Total asset turnover is sales by total assets, and profit margin is net profit by sales. Sales and sales get cancelled, net profit by total asset, which is return on asset. And your operating ratio means operating cost ratio. Operating cost divided by net sales, or EBIT by net sales. Lower the operating ratio will be better because it is about cost. It is favorable. Investor important ratios, debt equity ratio and pricing earning ratio. Debt equity, P ratio, dividend yield are critical for the investor to verify their investment whether it is correct or not. Right. Next, price earning ratio. We are comparing our earning price per share within the company. We are comparing with the market, MPS divided by EPS. Then how much we are having earning capacity as compared to our EPS. Earning yield, EPS by market price per share. When it is EPS by MPS, it is becoming 1 divided by P ratio, which is inverse of P ratio is nothing but yield, earning yield. Right. Profit book ratio, which is market price by price book ratio, MPS divided by book value per share. Fund flow is basically working capital changes due to changes in current and non-current account transactions. So any fund which is moving between current account, non-current account, between current to current, not a fund, non-current to non-current, not a fund, current to non-current asset or liability should happen. Right. We are having operating expenses, operating activity, investing activity, financing activity in cash flow statement. And in fund flow statement, we are having application of funds and source of funds. Cash generated from the operation is sources. Cash lost or fund lost in the operation is generally application of the funds. Increase in working capital is application, decrease in working capital is source. Repayment of bank loan is a financing activity. Sale of fixed asset is an investing activity, not a financing activity. And non-cash transactions are acquisition of asset by assuming liabilities, conversion of debt into equity, conversion of an enterprise by issue of shares. All these things comes under non-cash transactions. Decrease in current liability added to operating cash flow. Increase in current liability. deducted from operating cash flow. Schedule 3. In Schedule 3 of the Companies Act 2013, balance sheet is part 1, profit and loss account is part 2. Auditing. Auditing points already been done, sir. So here, environmental audit, systematic, documented, periodic, objective assessment and environmental compliance audit. Energy management or energy audit is monitoring, controlling and conserving energy to reduce the energy requirement per unit of output. Right. So we'll identify the energy streams and optimize energy cost and support the pollution control and safety and better utilization or maintenance of that assets. How to reduce energy per unit consumption. IT audit, information technology audit, which evaluate information systems and safeguards, ensure confidentiality, integrity and availability. And for that purpose, we have CART, computer assisted audit techniques will be performed to identify the procedures, audit procedures using computer tools. And cost audit materials are material ledger, bin card, vouchers, purchase, wastage, returns, defective or obsolete material and issue pricing are the terminology related to it. Cost audit objective is to ensure the cost records are accurate and cost control system was very effective. All this numerical has been discussed. Now sir, economics. Shall I begin economics? At least till 9 o'clock we'll do the session. 2 units completed just. Unit 3. One-minute break. Okay, 1-minute break. Chalo, shall we begin? Chalo, sir. Business economics, basic nature and scope. Business economics. Now we have to start. Business economics. It applies to economic concepts, tools, and principles, managerial and business decisions. Basically, microeconomics and macro. Micro is applicable to individual units such as consumer, firm, and product and the price, individual market. Macroeconomics is concentrating on national income, GDP, employment, inflation, poverty, all this. And the study of unemployment belongs to macroeconomics as it deals with the whole economy. And economic planning is also major economic decision, which is macroeconomics. And economic policies are the outcomes of planning decision related to production, consumption, and the taxation, spending, money supply. Business decision making process. Basically, first we have to determine the objective and identify the business issue, collect and analyze the relevant data for the business decision making, develop the possible alternative 1, 2, 3 choices, then select and implement the decision. Determine the objective, identify the business issue, collect and analyze the relevant data, develop possible alternative, and select implement the decision. Here, economic explain buying behavior, firm behavior for profit maximization, how market discover the efficient prices, right? So it explains the buyer behavior, firm behavior for profit maximization, how markets can discover the prices, efficient prices. The Great Depression, sir, go back. Great Depression created as a need for better understanding of the aggregate variables and strengthen the macroeconomics. So in the business life cycle, I will come to that point. In the business life cycle, something was happened. Great Depression was happened in 1960s time, where after that IT industry got boom of IT industry in 2000 time period, and in 2008 global financial crisis were happened, and in 2020 COVID pandemic. The sequence of arrangement. Macroeconomics models cannot be tested by repeated destructive experiments. They are often back tested against the available data. So macroeconomic models cannot be tested by destructive experiment. It is often tested against available data only will be useful. Means based on data only everything can be performed. The crisis in economic models arising from billions of micro truths into macro truth. Billions of small truths into one macro truth. And your consumer behavior, cardinal utility is measurable in numbers, marginal utility of money is constant, and it is a Gaussian first law of diminishing marginal utility. Cardinal utility is measured in numbers, utils numbers. Gaussian first law is a law of diminishing marginal utility. As more units of consumed, utility is going to reduce. Cardinal utility, different goods are to be treated as a independent and additive in nature. Additive means it keep on adding the utility, and every consumption is independent. Here ordinal utility, which is ranking the preferences, it is not going to be measured in numbers, it is measured in ranking the order. It does not measure the utility in numbers. It is basically given by the Hicks and Allen, whereas cardinal utility given by Alfred Marshall. Hicks and Allen given by indifference curve analysis or ordinal utility. So it uses indifference curve analysis, where indifference curve shows combination of two goods giving a equal satisfaction. Combination of two goods giving a equal satisfaction. That is indifference curve analysis. And indifference curve related properties are utmost important. It is downward sloping like this. It is downward sloping, and it is convex to the convex means this one. Concave means like this shape. It is non-intersecting. One IC curve, another IC curve never intersect each other. And higher the IC curve, higher the satisfaction. and no indifference curve will touch the axis. It will be keep on going like this, but it will never touch the axis. Higher the IC, higher the satisfaction, and it is non-intersecting, convex to the origin, downward sloping. Indifference curve is not concave for ordinary imperfect substitutes. Indifference curve neither intersect nor become tangent to. It will never touch the axis and it will never intersect each other. It will never intersect each other. Marginal rate of substitution. It is amount of one good that consumer is giving up for getting one more another good. I am sacrificing the food for getting one cloth. I am sacrificing one cloth for getting another food. Like that, how much one good we are sacrificing to get the another quantity of the good. And diminishing marginal rate of substitution explains convex shape. This convex shape is marginal rate of substitution. Where perfect substitutes are there, the convex shape will come. When perfect substitutes are not there, then it will be concave. Indifference map is set of indifference curve representing a different level of satisfaction. This is one level of satisfaction, this is another level, this is another level. Higher the indifference curve, higher the satisfaction. And here, budget line is a combination of combination of two goods purchased within the. Suppose I am drawing a budget line this. Within this budget only my satisfaction should come. So this is point of tangency where budget line is touching the indifference curve minimum point, which is convex to the origin, that is called point of equilibrium. That's where maximum satisfaction within my budget I am going to gain. Right. At ordinary consumer equilibrium, slope of indifference curve is equal to slope of budget line, which means marginal rate of substitution is price ratio, price of X good divided by price of Y. This is where marginal rate of substitution is going to be equal, ratio of two goods prices. Right. And demand, law of demand is showing price and demand is inversely proportional. Price goes up, demand will come down. When price goes down, demand will go up. It will be inverse relationship. Price effect is a mix of substitution plus income effect together is a price effect. And substitution effect arises because goods become relatively cheaper. When goods are becoming cheaper, the substitutes will be. So one price, coffee price increases will shift to the tea. If tea price increases will shift to the coffee. So substitution effect arises when a good becomes relatively cheaper or costlier when compared with the substitutes, which is why they are making a decision of substituting one with another. And substitution effect is normally positive, and in many real cases it is larger than income effect. Substitution effect is larger than the income effect because substitute goods, the most of the goods occupy smaller part of the total expenditure, Substitution effect is always larger than the income effect, and goods are going to be occupy smaller part of the total expenditure, and in real case it is. Income effect arises due to change in the real purchasing power. Due to real purchasing power, whatever the changes comes, it is income effect. Next, for a normal goods, both income and substitution effect are support the high demand when price falls. More demand when the price falls, when in case of normal goods. In case of inferior goods, substitution effect is positive, income effect is negative. Why? When more income, you will not prefer the inferior goods. Higher the income, you will not prefer the inferior goods, you will prefer the superior goods, which is why negative. And substitution is one is substituting, other means positive effect only. Given goods are special inferior goods where negative income effect is dominating the positive substitution. So negative income effect is more than the positive substitution effect. In case of which good? Given goods which is violating the law of demand, because they are having, even though more income is increasing, they'll try to spend more on their basic needs rather than going for a luxurious goods, even though at a high price. Bandwagon effect means demand rises because others are consuming or it is fashionable. Demand is going to be consumed. Everybody is consuming, I will also consume. Everybody going to movie, I will also go to movie. Snob effect. Demand increases for the uniqueness. You want to show your prestige, uniqueness, then snob effect will be. And negative network externality, others, to show yourself in front of the others, your status and all, then you will purchase the goods. That is called snob effect. Veblen effect means conspicuous consumption, where we are getting a psychological feeling that if you are paying a high price means high quality goods. Relative price of the good rises. Sorry, a higher price itself may increase the prestige demand. Next, the substitution effect is consumer shift to cheaper alternative when the relative price goes up. Next, price elasticity of demand measures percentage of change in the quantity demanded divided by percentage change in the price. If it is more than one, price increases, reduce the total revenue. If price decreases, it will increase the total revenue. And if demand is inelastic, less than one, price increases, it will increase the total revenue. Sir, carefully, I am linking with a revenue. Very confusing point. When it is elastic, if price increases, total revenue will fall down. If price decreases, total revenue will increase. If it is elasticity is more than one, means percentage change in the demand is more than the price. When it is inelastic, percentage change in demand is less than the price. Price increases, total revenue will decrease. When price increases, total revenue also increases. When price decreases, total revenue. So when it is less than one, same direction. How the price goes, revenue also same way. When it is more than one, opposite direction. Remember this. Total revenue and the price in a same direction when it is more than when it is less than one. Opposite direction when it is greater than one. And if the elasticity is 0, demand is perfectly inelastic and quantity demanded does not change with the price. A rectangular, when it is unitary elastic, percentage change in price is equal. Unitary elastic equal to 1 elasticity. Right? Rectangular hyperbola. Straight line demand curve has a different point elasticity like this. Point elasticity more than 1 or infinity more than 1, less than 1 and 0. That is called straight line. Necessities generally have a low price elasticity, and salt is an example for highly inelastic demand. Low elasticity means highly inelastic demand. Inelastic. Goods with a more close substitutes, higher the income share, longer the adjustment time, usually have a higher price elasticity. It is going to take much time for the adjustment. Income is high, more substitutes are available, for them high price elasticity. People will respond to the price like anything. Income elasticity demand measures responsiveness of demand due to change in income. Normal goods is a positive income elasticity, inferior goods is a negative income elasticity. And when it is between 0 and 1, necessities. Whether your income, you are Ambani or whatever you are a poor man or working for only as a watchman for a basic salary, it is necessities are common. That is why 0 income elasticity to 1. Luxuries will have a greater than 1 elasticity. Cross elasticity means price of the substitutes and complementary goods. For positive, it is for substitutes it is positive. For the complementary goods, negative income cross elasticity will be there. Right. Here, if quantity equal to minus 100 plus 10p, p is equal to 15, q is equal to 50. So here we have to substitute. Then we are getting elasticity of supply as 3. Next, production related, sir. Production function. It shows the technical relationship between the input and maximum possible output. And production function is having 3 main features: substitutability, complementarity, specificity. Every production input should have a substitutability, complementarity, specificity. Substitutability of factor give a rise to law of variable proportion. One variable we can substitute for one labor, we can substitute with another. Complementarity means returns to scale long term, because input must be increased together with a higher scale of operation. Together anything is happening, it is called complementary. Specificity means some input specialized, because some quality of material you should mention very clearly to produce that product. Otherwise, we cannot do the production. Cobb-Douglas production function, A into L power alpha and K power beta, which is alpha and beta are the coefficients of the labor and capital. So alpha plus beta more than 1 is indicating increasing return, less than 1 decreasing return, equal to 1 constant return to scale. Elasticity of substitution Cobb-Douglas production function is equal to 1. Next, Leontief production function is a fixed proportion production theory. When the Leontief paradox is assuming only one thing, there should not be any substitutability. There is no substitutability will come. In some inputs, we cannot substitute one input for another. It is not possible practically, which is Leontief paradox. And Leontief has written the formula Q equal to minimum K power K by A into L by B, capital and labor, and A and B are the factors. And here elasticity of substitution under the Leontief production is 0. Under the elasticity substitution is 0 in case of Leontief paradox. Leontief production function limiting or binding the input which determine the output. Limiting or binding means it is restricting the input which are going to give the output. And your constant elasticity substitution production function, it is a homogeneous degree 1 in the standard form. Constant elasticity substitution. ISOCONT shows different combination of two inputs producing the same level of output. Different combination of two inputs producing the same level of output. That is called basically ISOCONT. Properties of ISOCONT are downward sloping, convex to the origin, non same. IC, indifference curve same. ISOCONT is nothing but indifference curve only. ISOCONTs are convex to the origin, not concave. And here marginal rate of technical substitution. Technical substitution is a word used for ISOCONT. Marginal rate of substitution only will be used for indifference curve. And it is the rate at which one input, and marginal rate of technical substitution will use in the production analysis for ISOCONT. Whereas marginal rate of substitution will use in the consumer utility theory, ordinal indifference curve analysis. Right. One input substitute another while keeping the output constant. Output is constant. We are replacing one input with another. One labor with another labor. One skilled with another semi-skilled, two labors. That is called marginal rate of technical substitution. Applies to production. And diminishing technical substitution explain the convexity of ISOCONT. Same as indifference curve. And here, law of diminishing return is a short term when one factor is variable and other one factor is fixed. Assumptions of this diminishing returns are basically include short run, fixed technology, homogeneous of one input, and given input varies. Whatever one input, it is only going to change. And increasing returns to scale occurs when output increases more than proportionately, which is more than 1. And decreasing return when output is increases less than proportionately. Output is more than proportionately than input is increasing, then more than 1. Decreasing return means output is increasing but at a lesser proportion than input, then decreasing returns to scale. Cost and revenue, total cost equal to total fixed cost plus variable cost. And in short run, fixed cost, if it is 0, change in fixed cost is 0. There is no change in short run. There is no change in fixed cost in the short run. In the long run, total cost equal to total variable cost. Sorry, in the short run, total cost equal to total variable cost. Means change in total cost, change in variable cost is equal, as fixed cost won't change. Average cost is nothing but total cost divided by quantity. Average fixed cost by total fixed cost divided by quantity. Average variable cost, total variable cost divided by quantity. That will give you per unit. So when average fixed cost per unit is falling, average variable cost will rise. Average variable cost will rise, right? And average cost is going to be remain constant. Total cost is remaining constant, but average variable cost will rise. Marginal cost is a cost which is incurred per one additional unit of output. Cost incurred due to one additional unit of output. And your MC curve intersect the AC curve. This is average cost curve and this is a marginal cost curve. It is intersecting the AC curve at its minimum point, and both are falling down in the beginning, and fall in average cost is more than the fall in marginal cost in the beginning. Later, the rise in marginal cost is more than the average cost when it touches the minimum point. This is called equilibrium point. MC touching the AC from its minimum point. MC curve intersect the AC at its minimum point. When AC is falling, MC is below. Yes, when AC is falling, MC is below. When AC is rising, MC is above. Right? When AC is constant, both are equal. MC equal to AC. Marginal cost equal to average cost. So when AC is constant, AC is less than MC is incorrect. Why? When AC is constant, both are equal. Both are equal. It is not less than or more than. Long run average cost curve is U-shaped and it is also called as a planned curve. It is also L-shaped, it is also W-shaped. It is also L-shaped, U-shaped, W-shaped. When economies of scale at a small output and diseconomies at a large output. Economies of scale exist when long run cost per unit is falling down and it increasing the output, which is nothing but more efficiently you are working. More efficiently you are working. Economies means advantages. Diseconomies arises when you are having a weak scale management. No communication, coordination is getting difficult. And L-shaped curve, long run average cost curve will be in L-shape also when it is constant returns to scale over a wide range of output. Over a wide range of output. Different levels of output will have a constant return to scale. Whereas W-shaped may occur, multiple ranges of economies of diseconomies exist. Advantage and disadvantage both are there. This long run average cost is U-shaped. It is also called as a planned curve or planned curve, U-shaped curve or L-shaped curve. Planned or planned curve it is. Excess capacity means production less than this economic or optimum capacity. So you are not utilizing your full capacity. You are having a capacity, but you are not utilizing to produce the product. So accounting profit is total revenue minus explicit cost. Economic profit is total revenue minus explicit plus implicit, both cost. Real profit is accounting, but in economic we are also, real profit is economic profit. Economic profit is usually smaller than accounting profit because it is not it is deducting implicit cost. Explicit is actual cash outflow. Implicit is there is no cash outflow. And sunk cost is already incurred. It cannot impact on the decision making of a business. In short run, if total revenue is more than the total variable cost, then you can continue the business. Or average revenue more than or equal to than the variable cost, you can continue. But when your revenue is not in a position to recover your variable cost, then shut down your operations. Shut down your operation when your total revenue is less than the variable cost or sales price is less than the variable cost per unit, average variable cost. Then definitely you have to shut down when it is not in a position to recover the variable cost. Market structure descending based on the number of sellers, perfect competition, large number of sellers, then monopolistic, oligopoly, duopoly and monopoly. Duopoly only 2 sellers, monopoly single seller, oligopoly few sellers, monopolistic large number of sellers, perfect competition large number of sellers. And perfect competition has many buyers and sellers, homogeneous product, free entry and exit, and firm is only a price taker. Perfectly competitive market firm face, this is horizontal, average revenue, marginal revenue, price, demand, all are equal in the horizontal curve. And here are long-term equilibrium where all are equal. Price, average revenue, marginal revenue, long run marginal cost, minimum long run average cost, and firm is going to earn zero economic profit. And in the long run, perfect competitive firm requires industry demand and supply equilibrium, no entry and exit incentive. Perfectly competitive has no excess capacity in the long run. And monopoly market is a single seller, no close substitutes are available. Monopoly does not always earn a supernormal profit. It may earn profit, normal profit, or even loss also depending upon the demand and cost. Monopolists always face downward sloping like this. Downward sloping of the average revenue and marginal revenue. Marginal revenue is half of the average revenue curve. Slope downwards. So marginal revenue is twice. It is 2 times of the marginal revenue is twice as steep as average revenue. Or half of the average revenue is marginal revenue. And monopoly creates a dead weight loss by restricting output and charging price above the marginal cost. You are controlling the output, you are not selling outside, and you are trying to sell at a higher price with a limited output. That is called deadweight loss. Monopolistic competition has many sellers, differentiated products, selling a different products, and selling cost also will differ. Here, monopolistic competition determinants of equilibrium are price, nature of products, and advertising. And in the long run, monopolistic competition and normal profit, but it is going to produce with excess capacity. Oligopoly has a few forms, entry barriers, and interdependence. Interdependent means one firm decision is depending upon the other, so that they can avoid the price war, price rigidity, constant is going to be there, and non-price competition will be there, not the price competition. Uncertainty of the rival reaction, how the competitor is going to react. Based on that, you will also have to react. Extreme case of non-price competition in oligopoly is because of the formation of cartel. Cartel means a group, forming a group which are favored groups. Paul's VG Kinker demand curve explain the price rigidity in oligopoly, and cartels are unstable due to incentive to cheat. Cartels are nothing but group of favorable companies. They will be unstable because they cheat each other, they'll expand the output, and new entry, legal risk, all these things will be there. And duopoly is a special case where two dominant firm, only two sellers. And monopsony means only one buyer. Here, contestable market permits free entry and costless exit. Even few market face a vigorous competition. Contestable market means where free entry and free exit, you are going to create a much competition over there. Contestable markets are hit and run entry. Just go and earn the revenue and come back. That's it. Immediately. And lower the Harfandel index. Harfandel-Hitchman index is there. It measures the market concentration by summing squared market share of the firms. Lower indicates more competition, higher indicates a greater concentration of a risk. The competition is only at a one place. Lower indicates more competition, but higher index indicates the competition is only at a one place. It is not heavy competition. When HH is 0, extremely competitive, 0 to 1000 monopolistic competition, 1000 to 1800 oligopoly, 1800 to 1000 is highly cartel risk. Concentration ratio, which is also showing the power of the market, monopoly power. Leading firms in the industry as a whole, higher ratio indicates high oligopoly power, which is market power. Market power will be calculated by concentration ratio, Lerner index. Lerner index will be calculating the monopoly power. Higher the index, greater will be the marginal cost. Greater price over the marginal cost. And lower the index, lower the price over the marginal cost. Last and final point of the discussion, which is price discrimination. Price discrimination means selling at different prices to a different group of customers or a group of people based on the different segments. Different prices to different buyers of the market. That is discrimination. When can we have a discrimination? Four conditions. Should have a monopoly power, and market should be in a position to segment, divide the market. Different elasticity of demand must be there, and no resale, no arbitrage. No resale. Different elasticity, separate market, monopoly power. If these four are satisfied, you can implement the price discrimination, charge the different prices from different customers. A monopolist charge a high price in the market with less elastic demand and low price in the market where more elastic demand. Where less elastic demand, he charge higher price. When more elastic demand is, he'll charge a lower price. Here quantity sales is important. Here revenue is more important. Perfect price discrimination transfers entire consumer surplus to monopolist. Monopolist means he is the only one who is the seller. Under perfect price discrimination, consumer surplus becomes zero. Surplus becomes zero means what he is willing to pay, what actually is paying, nothing. Both are equal. I am willing to pay 70, actually paying is also 70. Then in such case, price discrimination zero. No consumer surplus. Penetration pricing means charging a low prices initially, later high price. Slowly we increase. For a new products or new brand, new company. Skimming means charging initial at a high price, highly branded and innovative product. Later, slowly they'll decrease. Peak load pricing is charging the price on the peak demand. And going rate pricing, what competitor is charging, same price we are also charging. Cost plus pricing, adding a profit margin to the cost. Next, product bundling, combines products and sells them together as a one package. Customer make purchase decision based on the one perceived prices, not merely on the stated prices. What you are price charging, what you are telling as a price is not important. How customer is perceiving whether this price is suitable or worth of this product or not. What customer is perceiving is matter. Your stated price doesn't matter. Consumer may have a lower price threshold signaling inferior quality. Lower price is indicating that inferior goods. Higher price indicating that upper price threshold signaling poor value for money. May have a low price threshold for signaling inferior quality or upper price threshold signaling a poor value for money. Next, full demand means consumer supply equal to demand. Latent demand exists when consumer have a strong need but it is not available. There is no product available to satisfy that need. Baumol has proposed a sales revenue maximization. So here chronological order is important actually. Walker theory of profit. I will show you in the PDF better. Here you can see rent theory of profit, F.A. Walker in 1883. Number 1, theory of profits. Dynamic theory of profit, J.B. Clark, 1899. Risk bearing theory of profit, 𝐓𝐴, 1907. Innovation theory of profit, 1911. Uncertainty bearing theory, 1921. Rent theory of profit, Walker, 1883. Dynamic theory of profit, J.B. Clark, 1899. Risk bearing theory of profit, 𝐓𝐴, 1907. Innovation theory of profit, Schumpeter, 1911. Uncertainty bearing theory, Frank H. Knight, 1921. Now, apart from this, firm theories, theories of business firm. Hypothesis satisfying behavior by Seard March in 1963. Hypothesis maximization of managerial utility, which is managerial discretion theory, Williamson, 1963. Satisfying theory, Simons, 1956. Maximization of firm growth rate, Robin Maris in 1964. Sales revenue maximization, Baumol, 1967. After that, long run survival and market share goals, Rothschild. So, Seard March, hypothesis satisfying behavior, maximization of managerial utility function, Williamson, satisfying theory, Simons, and maximization of firm growth rate, Robin Maris, revenue maximization, Baumol, long run survival and market share goals is Rothschild. These are the profit theories and business firm theories. Profit theories and business firm theories, both are there. F.A. Walker, rent theory of ability, 1883. Clark, 1899, dynamic theory. 𝐓𝐴, risk bearing, 1907. Joseph Schumpeter, 1911, innovation theory. Frank H. Knight, uncertainty bearing theory, 1921. Right. The deadweight loss, some definitions are there. Deadweight loss is a loss of economic efficiency when market does not reach efficient equilibrium. When it is not in a position to reach the equilibrium, the loss of efficiency is called deadweight loss. It may arise from the monopoly or the taxation or the price floors or price ceilings and other distortion. Price ceiling is below the equilibrium price creates excess demand. Price ceiling is nothing but below the, when we are selling a price at a below the equilibrium will create excess demand. Excess demand or shortage. Price floor is above the equilibrium creates excess supply or surplus. So price ceiling creates a shortage, means when you are putting a maximum limit of the price, people don't want to sell. When they don't want to sell, it will create, they want to create a shortage of product in the market so that their prices will go up, they can sell. And price flooring is nothing but nobody wants to follow the minimum price approach. And if they are putting as such much product will be available in the market, heavy demand will be there, and it will be sold. Tax burden falls more on the side of the market relatively, that is relatively more elastic. Tax burden falls more on one side of the market. If demand is more elastic than supply, consumer will be more tax burden. More inelastic than supply, demand is more inelastic than the supply elasticity, definitely tax burden will be on the consumer will be more. If supply is more elastic than demand, then seller have to bear the tax. The tax burden will be borne by seller. Consumer surplus is the excess of what consumer is willing to pay and over what actually is paying. That's what surplus is. Producer surplus is excess of price received over the minimum acceptable price. It is called producer surplus. In perfect competition, monopoly captures whole consumer surplus. In consumer surplus is captured by monopoly market in perfect price discrimination. What is Nash equilibrium? Nash equilibrium is a stable situation where no player has an incentive to change strategy given the other player's strategy. Nash equilibrium is a strategy where no competitor wanted to change their strategy because of others. No player has an incentive because they want to play safe. Prisoner's dilemma shows how individual interest can create a collectively worse outcome than cooperation. If you cooperate each other, then you will get a better outcome. If you are acting according to your self-interest, you will be losing. You will be in a worse position. Instead of when you are acting only for a self, you will be in a worse position. When you cooperate each other, you both will be in a better position. That is prisoner's dilemma. Strategic choice in game theory are interdependent because each player playoffs depending upon their other choices. And macroeconomic concepts. Phillips curve is a one curve was it shows inverse relationship between the unemployment and rate of change in the money wages or inflation. Due to inflation or changes in the money wages, how unemployment is getting changed. That is explained by Phillips curve. Okun's law. Okun's law is a higher unemployment with a loss of output. Unemployment is increasing due to loss in the output or GDP. Misery index is created by Arthur Okun and it is generally calculated as a inflation rate plus unemployment rate. Inflation plus unemployment together is a misery index. Consumer price index measures the average rate change in the prices by consumer for the basket of goods and services. This index is measuring the retail inflation basically. Retail inflation basically. And GDP deflator measures price level to domestically produced final goods and services. And Fisher effect, nominal interest rate equal to real interest rate plus nominal interest rate plus inflation equal to real interest rate. Nominal plus inflation equal to real interest rate. So here real interest rate is approximately equal to according to the Fisher, real inflation rate equal to nominal inflation rate minus expected rate. Nominal interest rate minus expected inflation rate. Real inflation rate equal to higher economic growth associated with a higher ceteris paribus is associated with the higher imports. Fall in relative price of the imports will increase the import demand. When the price of import falls, you will increase the demand for imports. Economic value depending upon willingness to pay, trust, quality and reliability, and convenience and emotional social value. Right. And formula is already been given. Authors matching done. That's it, sir. Economics completed. All these are done now, so I do not want to repeat the same thing again and again. We have done 3 units. Unit 1 has taken a more time, sir. Tomorrow in the morning or today evening we'll have one more session regarding this. If not, tomorrow morning at the same 6:30 or 6 a.m. will start. By the 8:30 in the next 2 hours, remaining 7 units will come to a conclusion because Unit 1, we took more time. In the other units, it will not take that much time. Are you feeling like you are revised? Many PYQ points summarized in one shot. If you read, you may not be able to read this much effectively by yourself. You have to collect each PYQ, right? If you like our efforts, please do hit a like button and share with your friends so that they will also get benefited. I'm pretty sure, I'm having a confidence, I'm having a trust that tomorrow evening examination paper will remind this marathon for you in the examination hall. That's what my confidence or the optimistic expectation. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Just a one like button, one subscribe, and share with your friends. We'll meet in the next session. I will be informing about the session in this YouTube channel community post also, and also in WhatsApp groups which are available in the description.